Well, okay. So this is now recording, just so everyone knows. Can I just get, so everybody is being recorded? Can I get a like consent hand up from everybody that that's cool? All right, good. Uh, so it's being recorded and they'll save a copy to my hard drive and I can send it out to people who need it or would want it. So Mary is not here and we are going to strive for authenticity, not perfection. I have a goal. My goal is to go over the co-host functions. So Erica and I basically broke down the functions of what we need into being the host and being the co-host. Yay, Megan is here. She's also in like a lovely wood somewhere, which I like. Being the host means that you are the head honcho of the meeting. You are in charge of everything. Being the co-host means that you are assisting the host and you can do some functional things to help them out. It is my goal that at the end of this meeting, everyone will be able to be a functional co-host to help out the main host. We have a couple of pieces of good news. One of the pieces of good news is that Trish, who is pretty functional at a lot of these things and is already with us most Sunday mornings, is willing to take on hosting most Sunday mornings. So now Trish and Erica are gonna, if Trish does it most Sunday mornings and she's already there and we're already paying her, and Erica can do a couple of other Sunday mornings, that's pretty great, right? That like Trish and Erica make a great team. We don't actually need it really increases the amount of people that we have being able to do this. It would still be great if we had even more people. So we're still going to continue and do this. The other thing is I've done a couple of these like mini trainings with people. And the biggest difficulty with these mini trainings, with a lot of people, is that there are different levels of technological ability. So sometimes we get stuck going over something with someone that needs a little bit more explaining, and we don't get to as many other things. So it would be really hard to teach someone who didn't have some amount of technological know-how to be the main host. I have decided that out of my own professional expenses, I am going to hire a person for not that much money, that each of you can go and make a personal meeting to learn to do whatever you need to do to become more technologically advanced, to be able to do the host of the meeting, to do a follow-up after this. So I paid her for 10 sessions. There's 8 of you, so that should be great. So at the end of this, you can make a meeting with this person who does this for UU congregations. She goes through and teaches people at all various levels with screenshots, with screen sharing, how to do Zoom. And if you have an individual personalized meeting with her, you can learn to do all of this. And some of you may want to go on to do the higher level, and some of you just may want to stay down at the co-host level. So let's learn the co-host level and we'll figure it out. You with me so far? Anybody confused? Anybody need? No. Okay, great. So thanks, Megan. So when the person is the host, it means that they are doing things like sharing videos. It is difficult to share when you're sharing a video. You can't see the participants unless you are like Erica and have like a double screen setup. Irene doesn't have a double screen setup. So while Irene is sharing the videos this weekend, she will not be able to see what else is going on in the Zoom meeting. If you are running the slideshow, it's difficult to be also letting people in. There are times when when Erica needs to be running the slideshow, admitting people into the room and monitoring the chat. And she can't do all of that at once. So what we're asking the co-hosts to do is to admit people into the room and to admit people into the room and to monitor the chat and to mute and unmute people. So basically, if there is a problem with somebody making noise, you would be able to go ahead and mute them. If we're doing joys and sorrows and you see somebody who's like raising their hand, you could unmute that person or ask them to unmute and then highlight their screen. If there's somebody in the chat saying, I can't hear the video, or saying something really obscene that we don't want, you could go ahead and block that person from chatting, or bring it to the attention of the host or the minister if there was something in the chat. So those are the main things that we're going to focus on first, is monitoring the chat, admitting people, and muting and unmuting. So I am going to get a document up and I'm going to share my screen. What do you all see now? Don, you're muted.
The PowerPoint.
PowerPoint, great. Okay.
Hey, Julie,
Yeah.
your volume, well, it just came back loud, but it went real soft for a couple minutes. But now it's loud again.
Okay. All right. So I don't know what to say about that. So the first thing that we're going to talk about is admitting people from the waiting room. Now, the difficult thing with this is I don't know how to show you this without somebody leaving and trying to come back in. Liz, do you want to leave? And so hold on a second before you do, Liz.
Could I just use this? Can I use a
What?
second device to try and sign in? I have another device.
You can, yeah. Yes, that would be great. But hold on, Megan, did you have something too? No? All right, but before you do that, I'm going to make all of you a co-host. So once I make you a co-host, you'll be able to see what happens.
How do I know if
Are some of you seeing? I'm about to show you. Denise, I just made you a co-host. Do you see it?
Denise.
Oh. Mike, you got to mute if Sue's going to talk.
I'm gonna go use a different computer.
She could keep herself muted. That would help.
I
wouldn't
can't
it?
talk that way.
Okay, she's moving to a different computer.
Okay, you said that to me.
Okay. So everyone here should be a co-host.
How do we
And the-
know if we are?
So click on the participants screen. There's a button that says participants at the bottom,
Yeah,
and there should be a list of 9 participants that comes up. After your name, it should say co-host in parentheses.
oh yeah.
Does everybody see themselves as a co-host? Great. So Don, why don't you try to sign in from a different account? And
While
I
he's
think,
doing that, will we only see him trying to come in if we are a host or a co-host?
yes.
Okay.
So when we got Zoom bombed, I got distracted because I suddenly got like a million people that were, I'm exaggerating when I say a million, many people who were trying to enter at once. And it just said, this person wants to enter and this person wants to enter because I was a co-host, but most of you didn't see that. Okay, so Sue was able to just come in.
Yeah, I just came in. Nobody had to admit me, right? Or did someone admit me?
No, we didn't have to admit you. Do we not have the waiting room? I didn't set up this meeting. So did we not set up a waiting room for this meeting?
You must not have, because I didn't go into one.
So let's learn how to change that setting after the meeting started.
Okay, in order to change that setting, I don't think you
I
can
just enabled the
after the
waiting
meeting
room.
has started.
I just enabled the waiting room.
You did?
I went to security and clicked on enable waiting room.
Oh, yeah, good. Okay, so
when I tried to join, it wanted me to upgrade my version, so I'm gonna go in directly to the meeting, so I'm typing in the meeting number now.
Sue, can you leave and come back in again? Oh,
Sure.
see, the Livingston County Community Alliance, there you go, that's Megan. Okay, so can everybody see Megan trying to come in here under participants? All right, now, if that said Livingston County Community Alliance on a Sunday morning, I would probably just hit admit, that seems pretty cool. If it said Elizabeth Fyrick, I would be like, I know who that is. I'm going to admit Liz. If it said David Duke, I would probably hit remove. Or you can say, or you know, if you're like, I don't know who this Livingston County Community Alliance is, you can say, or you can chat with everyone in the waiting room, or you can go to, oh, I guess you can just send it to people in the waiting room. You can say, Liv County, what is this? And they might text, and they might write something back that says,
My chat's disabled, so I got your message, but I can't chat you back.
oh, okay, so security.
Where is your security choices on here? I'm not seeing it on my screen.
It's down at the very bottom to the left of participant.
Oh, you know what? I'm not a co-host, so it's not gonna give me that.
Oh. You're a co-host.
There's the waiting room.
How is your chat disabled?
I don't know. I'm not too worried about it. It's on my phone.
Oh, it's on your phone. It said we didn't just, I'm like, wait a minute, but under security, it
Yeah,
says
yeah.
allow participants to chat, so,
Yeah,
All right.
not too worried about it.
okay. So she could come back and say, oh, this is Megan Palmer on my work thing, and then you would hit admit. Don Reef is in here. Let's see if we can chat with Don Reef. Hey, Don Reef. Are you a Zoom bomber?
I don't see how you're doing that.
Oh, yeah.
So under participants, so hit participants, right?
Yep,
And then on the right-hand side of your screen, it should give a list of participants. 2 of whom are in the waiting room.
right.
You see that?
Yes,
Okay, so I hit message. So it says waiting room parentheses 2, and then it says message or admit all.
yep,
Do you see that?
yep.
If you hit message, so Denise, go ahead and hit message and say hi to Don.
Yeah, see, I'm hitting message, but nothing's happening.
So down at the bottom, if you
Oh,
hit
down
message,
there.
yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
So down at the bottom, you should be able to type something. So Denise, why don't you type a message into the chat?
I said, hi, Don.
Okay, great. So only the people.
So what
who-
I'm seeing, it says from Denise B2 and also from Don and Mike who have been sending messages. It's to everyone in the waiting room, not just specifically one person. So you have to address it to that one person and have them respond to everyone in the waiting room.
Yeah, I don't think you can address it to just one person. I think you can only message the whole waiting room. But you can admit specific people. So I'm going to go ahead and admit. So actually, why don't one of you do it? So see, it says participants. Why doesn't somebody admit the Livingston County Community Alliance? Because now we know that's Megan. Great. Who did that?
I did.
Great. Wonderful. So I went ahead and admitted that. Denise, why don't you admit Don? Do you know how to do
But,
that?
hang on, before you do that, I've got messages coming into me, but I cannot respond from when you asked me a question, there was no way for me to respond to it
Hmm.
from the waiting room.
Could
Mike,
you
can
see
you have
the, could you see the message?
Yeah, I saw the chat. I saw all the chat that was going to people in the meeting room, but there was no button for me to respond to it that I could tell. Why don't you kick me out and I'll come back in and we'll play around with that a little bit.
All right, I think the setting is that if somebody gets kicked out that they can, why don't you leave? Because if I kick you
Okay.
out,
Yeah,
You
let me
might not
leave
be able to.
here. I'm gonna leave there. I'm leaving meeting.
Megan, how were you able to chat?
I can use the chat on my computer, but I can't use the chat on my phone. And I think that's because Zoom on my phone thinks I'm driving a car right now. So they don't want me chatting while driving.
Okay. All right. Why don't one of you leave and try to come back in and see if we can chat, if you can chat back in the waiting room?
Yeah, I
I'll
should-
leave.
Okay, Sue, thank you. Yeah,
I may
Dave.
be, I may be wrong, but I just checked the basic Zoom webinar regarding meetings yesterday. I could swear he said something about if you can't chat from a mobile device, so either a phone or even a tablet. I don't know if that's
Okay.
true or not.
I'm gonna, the second one I'm coming in on is a tablet.
So we'll see if you can chat. If you can't chat, then you can't chat from a phone or a tablet.
So
Why don't-
I'm gonna message Sue and say, hey, Sue, can you chat?
Okay, so I get an icon with that there's a chat in the meeting room. Hey, Sue, can you chat? Comes in, but there's nothing, the only option is close. I can't respond to it,
Okay.
but I'm on a tablet.
So Mike, yell at Sue and see if she can chat.
She can't chat, she's on a laptop.
So there might be something in this is good to know. I will figure this out with Erica. All right, I'm going to admit Sue.
We could also put in there, just call this number. You know, I'm the admitting god. Call me and, you know, talk so we can let you in.
Yeah, it would be better to be able
Oh, yeah.
to chat,
If we could.
to have them chat back, but
We wouldn't necessarily want to give our phone number to somebody that. we
Yeah, that's true. That's
have a
true.
Phone number.
so there should be a way to allow people in the waiting room to chat with you. Don, what happens if I remove you? No, I don't want to report to Zoom.
The host is removed. I got a notice. The host is removed from this meeting room. Okay, and it counts down from 5 to 0, and then it kicks me out.
Oh, look, Gloria Body is trying to come in. Who wants to try to message Gloria?
What are we gonna say to her?
Can you, Gloria,
How's David?
can you respond to this message?
And if she doesn't say anything, we'll assume no.
Yeah,
And then we'll admit her.
We could say we'll let you in 1 minute, but we want to ask you a couple questions first.
Is this really Gloria?
this is really Gloria. What is the name of your firstborn child?
We need to talk to Gloria before she gets upset.
All right, somebody let Gloria in. Why don't we have Dave? Dave, why don't you admit Gloria? See, there you go. See, that's how you admit someone. Gloria, were you able to see the message to you? You're muted, Gloria.
Gloria, you've got to hit mute. There's a mute button on the bottom of your screen there.
You've got to unmute.
I had another meeting before this one and could not check email.
Okay. But just now, did you get oh shoot.
All you get is the chat icon has a 1 next to it when there's a message.
Yeah, there was a message. Do you want to join the meeting? I didn't really know what to do with that message. So I just clicked around on it and here I am.
That's pretty much how you use Zoom.
She's an
Okay.
expert. Next Sunday.
Yeah, right. I'm going to call Erica really quickly because she said I could and see if she knows how to. Lori, I'm gonna make you a co-host.
All right.
I'm gonna sign out from my personal account because I'm in with the coalition right now. And then if you want to message my personal account on my computer, I'll see
Hey,
if
Erica.
Secret conversation.
It's a good thing we can read lips.
So some of the other things you can do is if you move your cursor around, you can look in the upper right-hand corner of your own screen or anybody else's, and there's a little blue square with 3 dots. Oh, what I just found something I didn't know I could do. I held my finger on Denise's and I can move her screen around. Oh my God, that's so weird. Okay.
Me?
All right, y'all, I was wrong. So this is going to be extra super important. So if you have people in the waiting room that, okay, hold on. Trish wants to come and sorry.
So Megan, we were working on the chat, entering people in the chat room, and that's why we sent you a text or a message to see if you had, if you could respond to it, but evidently you can't do it either, and that's what Julie's checking on right now.
So you can't do it. They can't have, so you could send somebody a message saying, please change your name to what your actual full name is. So what you have to do is you have to admit people. And if we don't know who they are, then we're going to have to check with them once they're in the room to say, you know, hi, are you new to Cub? Who wants to admit Trish?
I'll do it.
Oh, yep, let's see, 1.
So when
Hey,
we
Trish.
send a message, does it go just to them or does it go to everybody in the whole congregation?
It goes to everyone in the waiting room.
Waiting room. Mhm.
No, but once they're admitted, she's asking, no,
Yeah.
you can send a message to an individual person.
Yeah,
Okay.
yes. All right, so let's learn how to do that now. So under so everybody hit either in participants or under chat. You can just get chat up, which is on the bottom. Do you all see that?
Oh, I see myself twice.
Yeah, chat up. Mhm.
Everybody have chat up? Okay, everybody type hi into the chat so we know everybody can chat. But wait, hold on a second. Make sure it's to everyone. So at the bottom, it says to, and then there's a drop down menu. It
Mhm.
says to everyone in meeting. So Natalie, I see Natalie, I see Sue. Okay. Mike, can you change yours from to everyone in the waiting room to everyone in meeting? Great. All right. So that's important when you're chatting with people, because like I could have mine on everyone and I could mean to send it just to Denise, and I could mean to say, but if I say that and it goes to everyone, everyone's going to be able to see that. And that's pretty embarrassing for me. But if I send something just to Denise, Denise, I messaged just you. Can you read what I said?
Yeah.
Direct,
Go ahead, Denise.
is this to me? It says, Cub Zoom tech to me. I don't actually think he smells.
That's right.
Okay.
Right. So see, my name here, this is an important thing. My name here is Cub Zoom Tech. So that's what this account is called. I can rename myself if I click on the three little dots up in the right-hand corner of my picture. If you hover over your picture and click on those three dots, you can find rename. So I can rename myself Julie. So I want everyone to rename themselves for a second. Rename yourself something else. Natalie is Jude Jingles. Denise is Niece. Megan is Hollywood. Gloria is Toby. Sue Kelly is Don Reef. Mike is Smelly. Trish is still Trish, or maybe it was Trish Ibrahim before. Great. Dave is Boo. Don is Ski Bum. Liz, can you rename yourself?
Yes, I can. I needed to get closer to my my internet source. I've done it before.
Okay, great. So now we all know how to rename ourselves. If you are a co-host, can you rename somebody else? So now I'm not sure. You might.
I didn't think I tried to rename you, but I couldn't.
Okay, so that's something only
just-
the host can do.
Yeah. I can't rename you.
Okay, so I can rename people though. So I just renamed Mike. All right, so let's all rename ourselves back to what it was before, what we were before, our actual names. Now let's try to chat with a direct person. So I want everyone to send just me a message. So if you see the little drop down menu, you should, it says send a chat to everyone in meeting, or you should be able to click on Cub Zoom Tech.
And just so you guys know that if you privately chat somebody in the Zoom, the host of the meeting gets a copy of that chat saved for them and emailed to them. So nothing you say is actually private.
Yeah.
I may know some people who've gotten in trouble for that.
Is that you? This is me, Natalie. I got yours. Don, I got yours. Sue, I got yours. Denise, I got yours. Mike, I got yours. Megan, I got yours. Trish, I got yours.
Did you get mine?
Liz, I got yours.
You didn't get mine because I missed a step. So what did you,
I don't have yours, Gloria.
Okay, I've got the message in there. It's a direct message to Cub Zoom Tech. Let me try that button. No, that isn't a choice.
You
You
have
probably need to
enter.
hit enter.
I thought I did hit enter. Okay, wait a minute, let me try that.
I
Sorry
got
for
it.
the noise.
Did that do it?
Yep. And I got Dave's too. Okay, so if you admit someone in, so at the beginning of the meeting, this is going to be really, really important. This is going to be really important. If you see someone you don't know, you're going to want to send a message to them that says like something like, "Hi, welcome to Cub. How did you hear about us?" Okay.
Mhm.
So why don't you all try sending a direct message to someone as if you didn't know them, that you just admitted, that said, "Hi, welcome to Cub. How did you hear about us?"
Yeah, these are people in the meeting now because we don't have anybody in a waiting room.
Correct. These are people in the meeting.
Okay.
Oh, it looks like we have someone in the waiting room. Does somebody want to admit them?
Did it? Is there a way of making a sound or something when somebody pops up there? Because they could just sit there for a
Yeah.
while.
Mhm.
No, that's one of the problems. That's why the host needs help with people also looking, right? Okay. So Megan, you sent your message to everyone in the waiting room. They won't be able to respond to you. But did anybody else get a message to them from somebody saying, hey, how did you hear about Cub? Great. So your job will be to chat with these people. I'm sure the membership team will be able to give us something to give to them.
I sent a message to Don. Don, did you get it?
Where would I'd have to go to,
In your chat.
I'm in chat. How do you hear about this? Denise fees. So I got something from Liz.
Sorry,
Yeah, I
Natalie.
did get something from Gloria as well. Welcome to Cub. How did you hear about us? Okay.
Should have got one for me too, Don.
Okay, yep, got one from Dave. Megan sent one to everyone.
Yeah, oops.
That's okay. I mean, it's probably not going to be the end of the world if everyone sees the message, welcome to Cub. How did you hear about it? We'll survive. So
You know, I'm
go ahead.
So sometimes people have been coming and we just don't recognize them.
Yeah.
So, I just wonder if there could be some less like, hi, I don't think we've met.
Yeah, so go ahead
Something
and
like that.
Hi,
like-
welcome to Cub. I don't think we've met. That's a great,
Right.
that's a
right,
great
'cause-
thing to say. And then you can ask them, would you like to fill out, would you like to sign up to get more information? And then the membership and give the membership team their information.
Yeah, we had talked about possibly having a virtual greeter from the membership team assigned to each service. So they would be reaching out to people that we are not comfortable that we know them in some manner. We have
So
a
your
really
jo-
go ahead.
No, yeah, so that's great. And membership is still working on that. So your job will be security and sort of like intake, right? Like, so if the person is like, Heil Hitler, we're about to learn what to do next. And if the person is like, oh, I saw your website and thought you looked kind of cool, just take down their information and make sure membership gets it. All right? Yeah, Denise.
What information do we want? Like do
Phone
we
number,
want
email address, and name.
name?
Yeah, actually what we want them to do is we want to put in chat in every service, the link to the form on our website that now is forwarded to membership that asks all those questions. So we thought we would put in at the beginning of chat in every service that link.
Yeah. Or Denise, if you saw Don there and you knew he was a membership person and you knew that he was the virtual greeter that week, you could direct message him and say, hey, Natalie is new. Why don't you hop on a chat with her?
So one of the things I'm understanding though, is we're going to aren't we closing down chat? Can the host and the co-host continue to use the chat even if it's closed for everyone else?
I don't know that we are closing down chat.
Okay.
I don't know who makes these decisions. Honestly, it might be worship team. So right now I'm doing the meeting, I'm doing this training as if we're not going to change anything.
Okay.
Because then if we close down chat, we will have the option to have the host still be able to chat and the co-hosts be able to chat. That can be an option that you can set. So I'm assuming we will have at least that option. I know that people find the chat to be community building. I don't know exactly what we're going to do about that. So
Okay.
let's say somebody's in the meeting, we let them in the meeting, and then one of the first things they do is they have a big picture of a penis or something that we do not want to see as suddenly as their picture. Go up to hover over their screen. Yeah, what did you just show, Gloria?
I couldn't resist. This is something you can get online. It is a what do you call a blog? And the title of it is How to Keep Uninvited Guests Out of Your Zoom. So I'll refer that to folks too when we're closer to the end. It had
Great.
some interesting stuff in it.
Great.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, that's okay. So go ahead. Let's say I am now if it was somebody who had just a big picture of a penis, you would just kick them out of the room. But let's say
So show us how to do that.
Yes, how do you kick somebody out of the room? There's some instructions here I've read, but
so hover over the screen of a person. Don't actually kick them out though. And then click those. It can't be your screen, somebody else's screen. And then up in the right hand corner, there are 3 little dots. Do you see that?
You can just right click on their face too.
You can right click on their face too. So you have all kinds of options. You can mute them.
Okay.
This is a great option for if their dog is barking and they're not muting themselves. You can stop their video. This is, you know, I don't know exactly when why you would stop somebody's video and not just kick them out, but you can stop their video. This is another way you can chat with that direct person. You can pin someone to your screen so that person's screen is really big for you. This is a personal option for you, but that's what pin means. You can spotlight the video for everyone. So if somebody's doing joys and sorrows, you can ask them to unmute and spotlight their video. Why don't we, does everybody see this? Does everybody see these options?
Well, they seem to be different if the person's a co-host versus a participant.
Yeah,
Right.
These are for co-hosts.
No, I'm talking about if I'm trying to do something to a co-host, I have less choices than if I'm trying to do something to a participant.
Right, so this is another reason, yes, and that actually might be a good reason that, so who isn't a co-host under here?
Dan's not.
Sue's not.
Okay,
Dan's
yeah,
not.
okay. So like everybody hover on Trish.
oops, just a minute. I am not in gallery view. Okay, back to gallery view. Trish, okay, I'm hovering over Trish.
So you can remove Trish, but now everybody hover over Sue. And get
Trish
the
also,
option.
Trish
Oh,
is not a
Sue's not a
co-host.
co-host either. Everybody hover over Gloria. See, you can't remove Gloria. So if for some reason Gloria was doing something really inappropriate and you needed to stop her from doing it very quickly, you couldn't just click and remove. So you would maybe stop her video and then take away her co-host status and then, you know, remove her. Trish, you can just remove her. Don't do it.
How long does remove last? Is it permanent or just for?
Yeah, it's permanent. And then there's in your host settings, you can decide whether removed people can whether people that are removed can come back in and join again. So Trish, can you make someone else a co-host if you're a co-host? Can somebody?
It doesn't look
Try-
like it.
Try me, because I'm not a co-host.
Somebody see if you can make Sue a co-host.
Yeah, the
I
choices
don't
are-
have that option.
Yeah, the choices are mute, stop video chat, pin, spotlight for everybody, or report.
Okay, so I'm gonna make Sue a co-host then. I can do that because I am the host. So the host is the person that signed into the meeting, right?
And is there only one person or can there be?
There's only one host.
You can change the host though. The host can change the host, but then they can't get the host back unless the host gets it back.
That's not true. We have a business account, so you can reclaim host on this. We're
Oh,
not,
okay.
we're not there yet, though. We're not there yet. We're just figuring out. So let's go on to spotlighting someone's video. When you spotlight someone's video, this means, so does everybody know the different views? Like there's speaker view, there's gallery view. So if you go up into the right-hand corner, there's a little icon that looks like it has a bunch of squares and it says view. Everybody click on that.
Yeah.
There's two basic things. There's speaker view. Everybody go into speaker view. So now in speaker view, when somebody starts talking, that person should show up on your screen. For some reason right now, Trish is on my screen. I don't know why, she's not talking. But Mike, why don't you start talking?
Yeah, what do you want me to talk about?
There you go. So now did Mike just pop up for everybody?
Uh-huh.
He did until you answered again.
Oh, now Don's popping up. See, so that's how speaker view works. Now you can, everybody go into gallery view. This basically means that whoever is talking has a yellow border around their screen. So somebody else speak.
Hello.
Listening, 1, 2.
Okay, so I saw it go to Gloria there. Liz,
From
why
this-
don't you say something?
Hello.
Okay, Dave, yeah.
everybody.
From
I'm
this
good.
view-
I'm
from
going to
this
say
view-
something. I've got to go. I guess I'll catch up. Don will catch me up. I think I've been able to follow and actually even do all of the things that we've done so far. So, and I appreciate getting the audio of this when it's ready. So thank
Great.
you.
Great.
Bye.
See you, Liz. Good luck.
Thanks.
So in this gallery view, can I tell who's a co-host or a host?
No, you have to go to participants for that.
Okay.
So now imagine we're doing joys and sorrows and somebody wants to be recognized to say a joy or a sorrow. So I am going to mute everyone. So get under participants, do you all have the mute all?
I don't. Oh, yes, I do.
Okay. So one thing that you can do, if there's some interference or background noise, you can just, Megan, yeah. You're muted, Megan.
With the things. So I just went to the more button and it said play adjoining and a leaving sound. So maybe that's the doorbell noise. So when you know when a new person comes in.
So, and that
Yeah.
happened in the waiting room for me last night. I was running a Sierra Club meeting. And I had people I was admitting people and there was a ding for me. So you can set that so you know if someone's coming in.
Oh, mhm.
Okay. And I think you have to set that for your own personal computer. I don't think that that plays in the meeting.
I think that could be true, but I think it just plays on your computer, but I think it is set by the host.
Huh, I think that's one of the settings.
Yeah, I think it makes people the host setting, like when you set up the meeting in the background of like where you pick all your bubbles. And then I think for us, because I know I've been in meetings and the doorbell is rung and it wasn't my meeting that I was running. So
Oh, okay.
Well, we
Sorry.
don't want, so we don't want to have a joining noise play in service if it plays for everyone, because usually like during the opening hymn, like 10 people join, you know, and so we wouldn't want that to happen.
I think
Okay.
you can only do it for if you're a co-host or a host, because it says at the bottom, select more from the menu appears, enable play, enter, exit, chime option.
Yeah,
So if you're a co-host, I don't have it on my more. But,
I don't have it on mine more either.
Oh, okay.
Where's the more button?
It's just below, you've got the raise hand, yes, no. It's below where all the participants are. And it says more, it's 3 little dots.
So let's practice, so let's practice asking people to unmute and highlighting their screen. So I'm going to mute everyone. Actually, no. Don, why don't you mute everyone? Okay, so now everyone can unmute themselves.
And that was that was one of the options. I didn't have to allow that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay. Okay, so why don't we all unmute? And people, can we have a couple more people practice muting all? Denise, can you mute everyone? And then at the bottom, you'll see. Yeah, and then at the bottom, you'll see a little thing that says, allow participants to unmute themselves. Right? So if somebody were, if somebody's dog were barking, you might want to mute everybody and allow them to unmute themselves. We actually probably won't in the meeting allow people to unmute except at very specific times. But if somebody were starting to like yell racist things out in the meeting, you wouldn't want to let people unmute themselves, right? So let's practice highlighting screens first. So I'm going to mute everyone. And then I am going to, so we'll do joys and sorrows. Now there are a variety of ways that people want to get attention for joys and sorrows, right? Sometimes they type something in the chat, sometimes they like actually physically raise their hand, and sometimes they use the raise hand function. So Dave, why don't you spotlight Megan's screen and ask her to unmute herself? Did you figure that out? Yeah, so great. But you didn't, you haven't spotlighted Megan's screen, I don't think. So do you know how to do that?
Hey.
There you go. Yes. Now, when it's sometimes the spotlight will just be left on when somebody else is talking. So Don, why don't you unspotlight Megan's screen? Do you know how to remove the spotlight? If you hover above Megan's picture up in the left-hand corner, it says remove spotlight.
Hey.
There we go. Okay. Denise, why don't you spotlight and unmute Natalie? Great, good job. And Megan, why don't you remove Natalie's spotlight? Awesome. All right, who else wants to try it?
Well, I have a question. Everybody in my participants is listed as a co-host, every last person.
Yeah, because I did that.
Okay,
Well, Dan Fyrick and Trish are not.
No, I'm not.
Well, Trish is now a co-host.
Yeah, I don't see all the buttons.
There you go. Now you're a co-host.
yeah,
Everybody's a
Dan's up.
co-host.
So Julie, it says to ask somebody to unmute themselves. Does it ask them to unmute or do you actually unmute them?
No, so that's a new function of Zoom, or newish. It's a couple months old. You can't unmute someone, and because think about it, if you're muted for a reason because there's some noise going on in the background you don't want people to hear, it would be rude for somebody to be able to unmute you. So the host can only, or the co-host can only ask someone to unmute themselves.
So when you're going to spotlight somebody, you should remind them to unmute themselves as you're spotlighting them?
So yeah, so there is a function that says ask to unmute. So I'm going to mute everyone again, and then I want everyone to, so I've muted you all. I want everyone to hover over someone's screen and ask them to unmute.
It's not going through on Gloria's. I'm clicking ask to unmute and it's not going.
Because
Let's
she's
try
not
it.
doing it.
She's got to accept it.
Gloria, do you see the ask to unmute thing?
yeah, I pushed it and I think it's worked now.
No,
Okay.
it has. Okay, so it did go through, Sue, it seems like.
Yeah.
Now, there's one other thing I want to show you with this. Does under reactions, there is, so do you all see the reactions button on the bottom?
Mhm.
All right, click yes if you see the reaction button.
Click yes.
Yes.
Where is yes?
The
Under
check
the
mark or a
reaction,
thumbs up?
or a thumbs up, sure. Don, can you, there you go. There you go. Okay, great. Okay, so now under reactions, Dan, why don't you raise your hand? So is everybody under participants? So if somebody wants to be acknowledged during joys and sorrows, you can actually see Dan has a raised hand in his screen. And if you go under, does everybody, yes, no, does everybody see Dan's raised hand? Okay, if you hover over his name, because all of the other reactions are time, they'll be up for like 10 seconds or something. If you like clap or thumbs up, it's like 10 seconds and then it'll go away. A raised hand will stay up until the person lowers their hand. The co-host can lower their hand. So you can go ahead and hover over Dan. And one of the things that you can do, wait, Dan, raise your hand again. So one of the things that you can do if you're the co-host is you can lower hand and then hit the more button. And then you can say spotlight for everyone. And if everybody is muted, you can ask Dan to unmute himself too. So Dan, raise your hand again. Okay, so Sue, why don't you ask Dan to unmute, lower his hand, and spotlight his video? All right. Dave Beeman is suddenly spotlighted for some
Yeah,
reason.
the spotlight was like add to spotlight. It wasn't like only stop. Add spotlight, replace spotlight here. Let me try Mike or Denise here. She's right here. There. You know, it's clear if you hover over their picture, then you try to use a participants button.
Yeah, the participants button wasn't as clear, but you can do it all in one place then, but all
Right.
right. So that's how you do it for joys and sorrows. Does anybody have questions about admitting people, messaging people?
Yeah, I don't see the raise hand.
So Dave, go under reactions,
Yeah,
and at the bottom of the reactions box, there should be something that says raise hand.
Yeah, all I'm getting is a clap, a thumbs up, a heart, someone crying.
yep. 6 icons, that's all that's there.
If you go over, do you have the chat and the participants window open?
I'll do both. Hang on one second. In chat.
Sounds like they've been changed from like an admin position.
Or they just don't have the latest version of Zoom?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you might need to update your version of Zoom then.
Because you
Good.
might have raise hand on the participants chat menus.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't see it, so.
So
Okay.
Dave, hover over your name under participants.
What'd you say?
Go, for Dave, hover over your name on participants.
Yep,
Do you see something that says raise hand?
nope, just says mute or more.
Do you see at the bottom of the participant screen? Do you see something that says raise hand?
Yes, no, go slower, go faster, more. Uh-oh.
No,
Oh, under more. But no, it's thumbs up, thumbs down, clap.
should I check my
Okay.
version?
I don't know where it is on, so I know there's a version that it's on the participant screen at the bottom. And I know there's a version where there is a reaction, it's under reactions. If it's, I don't know where it might be for you.
Mhm.
Trish, if you're trying to say something, you're muted.
I said I'm having the same trouble. I don't have the raised hand either. It disappeared when I was made co-host. So I had it prior, and then
Right, I'm so
I think
sorry.
it's when we made you a co-host, I think it went away.
That's
Yeah.
right. I forgot about this. If you were a co-host, you can't raise your hand anymore.
but how did everyone else raise their hand? Because Dan raised his hand. He's a co.
He wasn't a co-host at that point.
Well, no,
After the fact, they switched both you and Dan to co-host.
I'm a
but I saw
co-host
other
right
people.
now.
But
other
I can
people-
raise my hand.
I
Yeah,
can
Megan
too.
and Mike can still raise their
Okay.
hand even though they're a co-host. I don't
Okay.
understand that.
Let me Google and I'll see if I can work it out.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, Mike's raising his hand too.
All right, so for people that aren't co-hosts, they will be able to raise their hand and you can do that and spotlight their video. But the main thing that you're going to be doing is talking to people who are trying to get in the room, and making sure that if somebody's making a lot of noise, you mute them. So let's practice muting people. And you can tell who's making the noise by where the yellow, in gallery view, by where the yellow highlight goes. So Trish, make a bunch of noise and see who can mute her first.
La, 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 la.
All right, we got her.
Who did it?
All right, Dave, you make a bunch of noise and see if people can mute you.
Hey, rattling paper.
Oh, we got him quick. Denise, what about you? What about you? Make a bunch of noise.
Hello.
Oh, okay, we got her. All right. So that will be one of your jobs if you're the co-host, is the whole, if somebody is yelling rattling paper, go ahead and mute. Well, ask if they're okay first, and then and then mute them. One of the things will be greeting people, letting people in, and then messaging people that you don't know. And then the other one will be monitoring the chat too. So let's say I need someone to not be a co-host for this. Hold on.
I might have worked out the raising hand. Is the people that can't raise their hand on computers, PCs, and the other ones that can on phones or tablets? That might be the difference.
So I'm on a laptop and I can raise my hand.
Okay, that goes out the window. I'm on a laptop too, and I can't. Okay.
Right.
I'm on a standalone computer and I can't raise my hand. I don't find it anyway.
Well, hold on, Trish. I'm going to take your co-host status. Now, can you raise your hand? Okay. So it might also have to do with the version of Zoom you have too. So Trish is raising her hand now. So everyone will be able to raise their hand that's not a co-host, and most people will not be co-hosts. I'm going to go ahead and make you a co-host again, Trish. Okay. Can you all make another person a co-host? So I'm actually going to take away your co-host, Trish.
Okay.
Natalie, why don't you hover over Trish's 3 dots and see if you can make her a co-host?
Nope, don't see that option.
Okay, all right. So that means that only the host can make someone a co-host, which makes sense. All right, great. So who has more questions? I'm going to go into some, oh, go ahead, Denise.
Actually, I have a couple questions.
Yeah.
It's all about the admitting people.
Mhm.
At the very beginning, you had said something about if somebody was coming in with some name that some unusual whatever or no name, that you could ask them to please change it to their full name. Is that correct? We should ask that first.
Well, now that I'm thinking about it, I don't know if you can do that from the waiting room.
Okay.
So
right.
for instance,
You can boot me out and try. I can come back in.
well, can you boot yourself out? Because
I can
if I boot you out, you might not be able to come back in.
Okay. I will be back in.
Thanks, Trish.
I can send her to the waiting room.
Oh, Don Reef is trying to come in. Don,
Well,
can you
after-
rename yourself?
It actually let me in.
We let Trish in.
Hey.
Okay, so what we would do is, in that case, like for a couple of weeks ago, Natalie was under the name Jude Jingles. And when she came in, she didn't have her video on. So what you would do is you would have to admit Natalie and chat to her and say, hey, Natalie, or say, hey, Jude, I don't think we've met before. And then Natalie would probably say, oh, this is Natalie Jewell. And then you could say, okay, Natalie, can you rename yourself so that we know, so that we're not, weary of that, and teach her how to rename herself.
Okay, and I guess that leads to one of my follow-up questions. What if you try and chat with somebody and they're not chatting back?
That's a good question. I would say keep an eye on them, because some people leave it up, leave their computer, they go to sign in and leave their computer. I would say then as a co-host, as a security person, just keep an eye on that person and be ready to, stop their video or boot them out if they start doing concerning things.
Okay.
So your main job as a co-host is just going to be vigilance. Watch the chat, watch the waiting room, and watch the participants to make sure that people are getting attended to if they raise their hand. Make sure that if someone is sharing something, making sure that if somebody is sharing something inappropriate on their screen, that you either stop their screen or kick them out. Making sure that you are kicking people out if they're being belligerent in the chat. You know, if I'm, you know, I mean, you wouldn't have seen it, but I was getting some pretty nasty things sent to me. First Presbyterian just got Zoom bombed last week, and they were, people were publicly posting in the chat, you know, Reverend Scott is a faggot. You know, if you saw that, you might want to kick that person out, right?
Right.
So why don't we try that? Don, can you, or either Don or Megan, can you sign in with one of your other accounts so we can kick
Yeah.
you out? 'Cause I think that we have it set that if we kick you out, you can't come back in.
No, I've been coming back in, but they've been admitting me, so,
Right, but nobody has kicked you out. You've left on your own.
okay,
So
so
I'm
I'm,
gonna-
go ahead.
I'm going to admit now, Don, with your second account, or Megan with your second account, type something mean in the chat. Not necessarily anything like that mean, but
They can't go from the waiting room to us, right?
No,
correct,
I've
but
been-
they're
I've
in
been
now.
admitted.
Oh,
So you stink. So if somebody said you stink in the chat, it's up to your discretion. I mean, if it were just like blatant name calling, I might just kick them out. You know, just like we don't have time for this on Sunday morning. If it were something like, you know, if I were giving a sermon and somebody was like arguing points in the chat and being, you're censored. Yeah, right. Kick those people out. If somebody was just like being a little bit inappropriate, you might try to message them and say like, hey, let the pastor finish their, you know.
So like if I see something bad in the chat, Livingston County, but then I have to go to the pictures to find that person in order to kick them out.
Well,
No, you don't. You can click on their name in the chat. So like the Livingston County Alliance, I clicked on that blue name and
Yeah.
it immediately pulls them up in your message area and you can immediately message them back.
so,
You don't
yeah,
have to look at their picture if you're looking at the chat.
But to remove them, I mean,
So to remove them, you have to, so you can go to find a participant. Actually, I wonder if you can remove someone who isn't.
I just removed myself.
Yeah. So, but if there's 60, Denise brings up a good point. If there's 60 people on a Sunday morning and you can't find the Livingston County Community Alliance, who I'm sure is often being belligerent in meetings, you can go and type in Dan.
I'm
And it
sorry,
says Dan. Go ahead.
go back. I didn't hear what you said.
So under participants, so get up your participants tab again. You might just want to leave that open if you're a co-host. At the very top, it says find a participant.
Where's that?
At the very top of your participants tab, there is a circle, or there is a blue rectangle. Do you see that? A place for you to type.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, search.
Search, okay. Mine says find a participant, yours could say search. So type in the name of somebody in this room.
Got it.
And then you can remove them. It's also good if they're doing something really gross. It's good to report them before you remove them. Okay? All right, so
So
You also
all I
seem to ha-
see is report. I see chat, stop video, pins, spotlight, and report.
that's because
There is
you
no
can't
remove.
remove a co-host and everybody is a
Oh.
co-host. So I'm gonna, Sue is no longer a co-host. Why don't you type Sue's name in, everybody, and see if you could remove Sue?
Can't remove Sue, but we can remove Trisha.
Is Trish
I
not a
have the
co-host?
option now.
Yeah,
You
the
can
other-
remove the
Too.
alliance too, because I'm not a co-host.
There was also an option of putting them back in the waiting room.
Yeah, so you can put them back in the waiting room too. But that's usually for, I don't know, if you need, like if you were gonna do an executive session at a board meeting and you had two people that were observing the board meeting, you could put them in a waiting room. So, you know,
Now I can remove and report Sue.
Well, don't report me.
Right, yeah.
don't remove her either. Okay, so so we're at the end, we're getting it close to the end of our time. My goal was, because there was no way we were going to be able to have somebody be able to sign in and run a whole meeting, right? With just this amount of time. My goal was that people would feel good being a co-host, coming in and being able to monitor the chat, help with admitting people, and monitor the video and sound of the room. Who here feels like they could do that now? Wait, okay, yeah, okay, go ahead and hit yes or no. That's under reactions.
I'm still not clear exactly what we do if we see somebody that wants to join that we can't tell if they're a bad guy or not.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, you let them join and then
In the wa-
message them. And if they start doing something bad, you report them and kick them out. There's no way to check before they get here. I thought there was, I was wrong.
Boy, that sure seems counterintuitive that you can't talk to them before you admit them.
That is true, that it's counterintuitive, and true that you can't.
You can click in waiting room. So it has to be to everyone in waiting room.
Right, but there's nothing you can do while you're in the waiting room.
Yeah,
The
the
waiting
person in
room
the
is
waiting room
two-way.
can't.
I'm in the waiting room right now. I sent myself a message saying, change your name. And I can read, change your name, but there's no way for me to change my name.
Oh,
It's
okay.
not a two-way conversation.
Yeah,
It doesn't look like it. I can only see what was sent to me.
Yeah, I wonder if you could take the people in the waiting room and admit them to a breakout room. And have
That's
a
a lot of,
side conversation with them in a breakout room.
Yep, you can do that.
But you'd have to have a breakout room already set up, right?
I think you have to probably admit them first and then do breakup room. I don't know.
and then you can leave a breakout room if you want to. There's no security in a breakout room.
You mean you could break out of the breakout room and go back to the main? room?
Yeah.
Oh,
So for right now, what we're gonna do is hope that this doesn't happen again. And if it does, then we're gonna have to have a meeting and beef up our security in some ways, maybe include a password, maybe not allow people to chat. You know, there's various ways that you can change things. Under the security, if you're the host, there's a security button, and there's all kinds of things you can allow participants to do. So I'm going to say people can't chat anymore. Now go down and you can't see the chat, right?
Oh, yeah, right, it's disabled.
Yeah.
I
so
can see it.
Now you can chat.
I've been to some meetings lately where you had to register first. Would we ever want to get to that stage where people have to give us their name and their information before they're ever allowed in?
I don't know, Megan, I just re-enabled the chat.
Oh, okay.
So, you know, I don't know. It's always that thing of like security versus being welcoming and open to new people. So Erica and I had a chat, and this week in particular, because we are, so I don't know if you all know this, but Alyssa Slotkin is speaking this weekend at Cub. So a lot of people might want to come see Alyssa speak. We also have gotten some press, and Sarah has been pretty diligent about inviting people who on Facebook who there was this, oh, she sent me a screenshot, or not Sarah, somebody did. It doesn't matter. Somebody sent me a screenshot of this whole conversation of somebody saying the heathens are going to come to church. And it was just this person who had read my letter and they were talking with their friend about how they wanted to come to Cub, you know, which is great. And so because I think that there's going to be a lot of people there this weekend in particular, or we have the potential for people to be coming in this weekend who wouldn't have access to a password, who wouldn't have the idea that they had to pre-register. We're going to try to do low security this weekend. So that brings me to our final point, that I would like at least 2 of you to sign up to be like virtual greeters, to be co-hosts this weekend, to be able to let people in and chat with them if we don't recognize their name. Can I get a couple of people to volunteer to do that?
I will.
Don will do that. Trish will do that. Great. And Natalie, okay. So if you want to do that, sign on to the meeting at 10:30. Actually, let's make it simple so we don't have too many people doing it. Who feels super comfortable and wants to do it? And let's pick 3 people.
I would kind of like to sign on as a virtual greeter and kind of work the membership side of things.
Okay, so Don is going to be a virtual greeter this weekend. Who wants to be cybersecurity?
If you need me, let me know. If nobody else wants to.
Okay, so Mike will do it and Natalie will do it.
I feel comfortable doing it too.
Okay, so
If need be, I don't have to. I'm good with not doing it too.
so why don't we have Megan, Mike, and Natalie being co-hosts this weekend? And Mike, we can put you on like watching to kick people out. And Megan, we can put you on like admitting people and chatting with them to see if we know them or something. But you might not know the people in the community as much, Megan. So maybe we put Mike on that, or, you know, whatever. Let's have Megan, Mike, Natalie, and Don sign into the meeting at 10:30 and we can talk about it then, okay?
Is 10:30 right? Or do you
I'm
want
sorry,
them there?
10 o'clock, 10
Yeah.
o'clock. Sue, thank you.
You're welcome.
And Sue, you're not going to be with us this weekend, right?
Right.
Um,
Neither's Dave. Yeah.
Yeah, neither. Yeah. So I just wanted to, I wanted to point out that you two were not being obstructionist.
Stubborn.
And Trish, it might be great if you were there in case people had questions about SE. It doesn't mean that you need to sign on at 10, but it's always good to see you. So, so the last thing I'm going to say is, so who here feels comfortable at least attempting to try to be a co-host?
Can I put a caveat?
Yeah.
I guess the first time I do it, I'd like to do it with somebody else, that I wasn't doing it alone.
Well, you're never going to be alone. If you're a co-host, there will always be a host, and I am always a co-host as well. So I am always helping to admit people, but you know, if people are coming in and out in the middle of my sermon, I'm not paying attention to that, right? So yeah, you'll always have a host there, and you'll usually have me there as well. So your job will just be extra backup to make sure the host isn't trying to do all of this at once, because this is a lot to do. Now imagine trying to share videos and get up PowerPoints and all of that while you're trying to do all of this. It's too much, right?
Yeah.
Mike?
What happens if like two co-hosts like try to admit or mute somebody at the same time? Do they like counteract each other and just like goes back and forth?
No, if they hit mute, now if one hits mute and the other hits unmute, yes. But if they both hit mute at the same time, it'll just mute them.
Okay.
If they both hit admit, the person just gets admitted.
This is a small change of subject, but I think it's worth asking. Have we considered disabling chat during certain parts, like maybe during the sermon, so people aren't like putting all kinds of messages up there when we're trying to concentrate?
I've sort of asked for that to happen because it's really just concerning. Like people have like made comments on my sermon as I'm trying to preach, and it's hard to preach when people are like commenting on your sermon as you're preaching. Even and sometimes it's good comments like, oh, I never thought about that, way to go, it's even if people aren't on, even if it's good, it's hard. Some people feel like that's community building, that they really want to do that. I think that this is a thing that the worship team should probably take on, but they have yet to really get into this, like what settings they want for the virtual worship. The worship team is not necessarily the most tech savvy people, but Liz is on the worship team, and Mary Temple's on the worship team. So Mary was supposed to be here and she couldn't be. So I think that these are good questions that worship teams should take on, to talk about community versus security.
Seems
Well,
like
and
a lot of times people's comments are delayed and you're already on to another subject and people are still commenting on the last subject.
Yeah, for me, it's like people standing up in the middle of the sanctuary saying something in the middle of a sermon, because it comes right into your screen and it disturbs the flow of the service.
Mm-hmm.
For a worship aspect, I'd like to consider, advocate for maybe we, wait and have a different time where we all chat and
talk to Deborah about that. She's the biggest proponent of allowing people to chat and open up their screens. So and she lobbied hard. So if you've got people lobbying on the other side, that's good to know. I generally just try to say yes if people lobby me for something, not anything, but something that's doable. So that's good to know that is wanted. I do like it open for joys and sorrows so that people can type something in if they don't feel like they want to say something to the whole community. That's good. All right, so this weekend, Mike, Denise, Megan, and Don are all going to sign in at 10 with us. Yes. Who here, and I'm looking at like Trish and Megan and maybe Sue, people that are feeling more comfortable, and it's okay if you're not. I am not one of these people. Who here would want to have another training to become a host?
I would do it. If you need people, I would do it for sure.
Okay. Who here feels really comfortable with Zoom right now and is like, I think I could do that on my own in the near future?
I would want to co-host probably 4 or 5 times and then probably be more comfortable.
Okay.
I think I want to practice sharing videos and PowerPoints and things, so I would be smoother about it, because right now it would be, Mike and I were talking about just practicing between us to be able to put things up and make it smooth.
So I'm going to ask a question that's going to be a little bit, so we have to acknowledge that everyone is at different levels, right? Who here was like, this training was really easy. I knew how to do most of this already.
Somewhat intuitive.
Okay, so you are probably the folks that should think about moving on to the next training. If you are sitting here going like, I learned a bunch of new stuff here and I want to practice it, you're probably not the folks that are ready to go on to the next meeting, okay? Does that make sense? So I saw it was Megan, Trish, Dan, Sue, and Natalie. Yeah? That were like, this was easy for me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so Megan, Trish, Dan, Sue, and Natalie. Dan,
Can't hear
Sue,
you. I don't even understand your question. You break up so much.
am I breaking up for people?
Yep.
Yeah,
Okay. I don't know what to do about that.
It's
I
like
still
you
breaking
lose connection.
She's trying to get an idea of who is ready to become a host versus just a
Right.
co-host.
So
Am I
Gloria,
still breaking up?
yes. Gloria, the question was, for you, was this like already basic and too simple for you? Did you already know most of this stuff? Or do you feel comfortable enough to move to the next step to actually fully host?
Oh, I don't know that I'd want to fully host. I think I'd like more practice.
Okay.
I would like to be included in the training to be a host. And I
So
can
the
share with
trainings to, am I still breaking up?
Right
Better.
now.
Yes. The training to be a host is going to be one-on-one.
But Sue and I could share that, couldn't we?
I don't know, Mike, you gonna drag her down?
I might start fighting in the middle of it. but I think it'd be-
Yeah, that's a certainty.
Oh, well, the person that is going to be running it is great with relationships. So, you know,
Well, we just, I think his point is that we don't need to occupy 2 spots. If you've got 10, he and I could occupy 1 spot.
so then I'm going to put an email address in the chat, and I want everyone who is feeling comfortable, specifically Megan, Trish, Dan, Sue, and Natalie. And Trish, make sure you do this because we're going to pay you. To email, hold on. Oh my Lord. You.
You guys like my turquoise eyebrows?
Yes.
I was wondering about this.
I have been looking at them. They're really good. No, that's wrong. That's wrong. There's a typo. Don't do that. That one without the Y. UUDRELiz@gmail.com. And actually, Trish, you've talked to this person before.
Oh, yeah.
So she's already done free consulting for us.
So is that part of the 10 that you said there's spots for training? Is that earlier on, Julie, you mentioned you had paid for 10 spots for training.
Mhm.
Is that who this is? Is the part of
Yeah.
those 10? Okay.
So Liz has our order of service, and she's going to sign in as the host and then teach you how to do something or ask you if you know how to do something and then make you the host and watch you do it. And the reason it's going to be one-on-one is because, for instance, if she were trying to train me, it would take her 17 hours because none of this is intuitive to me. And she'd be like, no, Julie, it's over here. You can do it. Whereas if she was trying to train Megan, she'd be like, can you share your screen? And Megan would be like, yup. She'd be like, do you know how to share video? And Megan would be like, yup. And she'd be like, go through the order of service with me. And Megan would be like, here you go. And then it would be done and she could go home. So that's why we're going to do it one-on-one to make sure that people feel really comfortable. After you've had your training, you can continue to email Liz and ask her questions. So raise your hand if you're going to email Liz and bother her in a good way.
What?
Great. I'll tell Liz that there are some people. Am I breaking up again?
Yes. Yeah, and you were breaking up, Julie, when you said who was going to be doing the co-hosting this Sunday. Can you repeat again who's doing the co-hosting this Sunday?
My notes say Mike, Natalie, and Megan. as
Mike,
far as as
Megan,
far as the security. And then I'm going to join as a virtual greeter to try and do some membership tasks during the service.
Okay. Just wanted to make sure I didn't hear my name in there.
You're off the hook for this week.
So can you hear me? Yeah, Dave.
I was just gonna ask, so moving forward, is someone gonna ask us to co-host, or should we volunteer, or like the next weekend?
Good. This is a good thing. So there's something called a Cub Worship calendar, and it's in Google Docs. Who here knows how to use Google Docs?
Yes, sort of.
Okay. So I'm actually going to get it up and share my screen. Okay. Can everybody see this?
Yes.
All right, so every week we have someone sign up for tech. I'm going to change this to host. And I am going to insert a column. Oops. Okay, so now if you want to be the host or the co-host, it's mostly going to be Erica, Irene, and Trish that are going to be the hosts soon. If you would like to co-host, all you do is click on here and say,
There you go, Don.
You just got volunteered, voluntold.
did get voluntold.
you're gonna give us permission to
That was last week though, but so I'm going to give everybody permission. I'm going to send this link out to everyone, and anyone who has the link has permission to edit it. We do keep copies, backup copies, in case somebody decides to delete it accidentally or whatever. So you can just go ahead and be the host or the whole co-host.
We know what you mean.
Yeah. And then I'm going to do something really quickly. Is everybody, Trish, you weren't on this, but can everybody look and see, is everybody's name on this that's in this room right now? Okay, great. I am going to then just reply to this. Add Trish, although Trish probably already has access to this, and share it. There you go. So you should all get this link. And you can go in and please do, like, if everybody wanted to go in right now and sign up to be a co-host of at least one thing in the future, that would be great. Does that sound good?
how many co-hosts do we want nowadays?
One or two.
So we could, if somebody else has their name on there, we'll just add right alongside it.
But if there's like two already signed up, maybe do a different date. Because it can get too many cooks, you know? Is there anything? So it's, yeah, it'll be pretty uncomplicated and intuitive once you're in the meeting, and you'll get to learn to do more stuff as you play around with it. Yeah, Denise.
Another question, I think Don had mentioned something about a link to a form, like to have people sign up, and I don't know how to do that. Is there?
It'll be put in the, go ahead, Don.
in the virtual or in the chat, I'm going to sign in as virtual greeter dash Don Reef, and I'll post something to everyone which has a link to the form for anybody who's new or wants to have information sent to them. So that will be the first chat in each service.
Okay.
And then, Julie, I'd kind of like to have something in the, at least in the announcements for the first few weeks, that's there.
We can have something in the announcements every week.
Right, just a short little blob that says if you're new and, or you'd like the membership team to contact you, there's a way of doing that in the links in the chat.
Don, if I don't do that this week, I'm going to try my best to remember to go and change the script. But if I don't do that this week, message me. Be like, Julie, you forgot to do this.
Okay.
Okay.
So you just want us to email Liz saying,
Yep.
tech
Just email
training?
Liz and say, I would like to schedule a Cub Tech training with you. All right. Okay. Is there anything else anybody has a question about? And if you have more questions, message me. It's okay.
Just if someone is in the security group or the co-host group and you have a question on someone as far as have they been here, have they, I'm keeping track of when people are at service, as well as if they're in our newsletter or if they had signed in as our visitors log. So I do have a pretty good historical database now of, I've got a question about, here's a name I've never recognized, PK, something weird. I might be able to add some depth to, how many times they've been here, are they getting the newsletter, things like that. So feel free to ask me that kind of questions.
And, Megan, that might be a great resource for you too. If you're not as familiar with some people, you might be able to message Don and be like, do we know this person? Yeah, and you can even message, you can message, anyone here probably knows, we have lots of old timers, and I don't mean old timers like they're old. Dan's an old timer just because he's been around.
Yeah, right.
He
We're
started-
born in the same year.
He started young.
That's what I meant, though. It doesn't like an old timer means you've been going to Cub a long time, not like you're chronologically an old person. All right. Does anybody have any more questions on just being a co-host? No, I really appreciate all of you coming in and talking and doing this stuff. The main thing that we want you to be able to do is admit people and shut them down if they're behaving badly. And I mean behaving badly outside of the regular behaving badly that most of us do. Okay, it's great to see you all. Give lots of appreciation to Dave and Sue who are going to check out people this weekend and have been working real hard to be on the search team. Thanks, Dave and Sue. And we will see you all, well, some of you this weekend.
Thanks, Julie.
All right, bye.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye.